Hello, this is Arim Naharim Samadi. This posting is at YouTube and it is for the website Lotus of the Heart for April 7, 2012, that is Holy Saturday. So this is posted also at JesusSpirituality here at YouTube. And the address for the website Lotus of the Heart, the parent ministry of Jesus Spirituality, it will be below this video. I put this at Jesus Spirituality because it's coming out of the Jesus tradition or the Jesus way to look for all people of all faiths or no faith at the universal significance of some things that the Christian community is celebrating this week and especially now this weekend, beginning really Thursday through Sunday, which is Easter. Is there a message there for all of us? Persons who claim to be Christian, persons of other faiths, persons who claim to be spiritual but not religious, or persons who simply may not feel the need to have a particular faith at all. Yes, there is a message there because we're not simply dealing with historical material behind these important events in our lives because they apply to all of us. They're natural processes that we go through. Therefore, ultimately, what is being celebrated is not religious. And many persons in religion may miss that point totally. So we ask the question non-religiously, in the sense of wisdom, we could say in the sense of spirituality, what is the significance of what's happening? The celebration of Saturday, Holy Saturday. Now, Good Friday is when I'm actually doing this video, and that's Good Friday, yes, and it is in honor of the crucifixion of Jesus. Then we're there Easter morning for Easter. What happens, though, between the death and the resurrection? Part of the myth in the sense of this story that applies to us all, regardless of whether it's fully historical or partially historical, even if it were totally made up. The story is there still before us, and it is written because it speaks to something that is integral to our life experience and our evolution as a species and as individual persons. We all go through this in our own evolution. And the spiritual path, whatever path we take, spirituality, wisdom path, is actually to encourage this process of death to the egocentricity, death not only from, we could say, but into who we truly are, presence, and to have the resurrection of that occur. In a way, the death is more a transformation or a recentering of our ego so that it is expressing our essence or our presence. So we could look at it as death or as transformation, but the transformation, we could say, is the death, somewhat can be painful death, of the way we related to others, related to ourselves, related to what we might call God. And that is not reformed in the sense that there is a going back to recapture something lost, but it's actually to go forward, to evolve into the expression of presence. Now, certainly there may be a sense of going back in coming home to our original innocence, but it is only after going through losing touch with that, forgetting who we were in a sense. And that's why we can call it transformation, because what we have gained in the forgetting is part of our journey. So it's not a reformation, it is a transformation, a new shape that we have not had before in this embodied existence that we're in at this time. The day that persons may give least attention to, and I think they do, is the Saturday. I want to focus on the Saturday when this is actually posted for the website, this Holy Saturday. So what makes a tomb day, a tombstay, holy? What makes it a sacred experience? What makes it something that we deeply want to have? Well, look at it in this way. We can look at it in this way, that we all have to undergo some people can talk about a major event or experience or time in their life that they went through a spiritual death to a higher consciousness or expression of life. And some of us can talk about having times that we maybe spent after that with some residue of that occurring before really knowing, being able to live where we had been moved to or were being moved to, the other consciousness. There's that kind of waiting period before the full realization and our comfort in the new expression of this life. Now that's where our patience can be tested, is we may feel that in some sense we've gone through an awakening experience, but we're not there to live it yet. We haven't integrated it yet. We've not become comfortable with it. And so this can be actually, I think, years. It differs from person to person, but it's not that important, because what this interim time allows is for us to relax into the integrating of what we had died from into, to relax into integrating it and to become comfortable with it and work through that that adapting in a sense to this newness of life that is the resurrection. So what happens is the egocentricity, not just the egocentricity, the ego itself that had centered itself, we could say the false self, has to be readapted in a sense to its proper place, that it is simply part of the body-mind system. It is not the center when previously it acted like the center. So it has to adapt also. That part of you has to adapt to being led by the Spirit, however you understand that, and whether that's God as Spirit or it's your essence, following your heart, etc. So these shifts have to take place even at subtle levels. This is why it can go on for years. Maybe we could say it goes on a lifetime, if not for all of us, some of us. So these are stages we go through in a rebirth, spiritual rebirth, however we understand that. And I'm not thinking of it religiously at all or necessarily spiritual, but you understand it how it speaks to you. But this is simply natural. We're celebrating this week natural things that occur in our evolution as a total species and as persons within the totality or the whole. So this is an expansion as our original innocence, our true self, the presence comes out, see. So there has to be, in a sense, this all playing together, and it will often feel like it's contradictory, contrary on one hand to the other and the other to the other, that there's these contraries playing themselves out, and so there can be the tension. What that middle point of being entombed is that being willing, able, choosing to relax into the tension so that you're not struggling with it. You're not struggling to get to the resurrection, but you're not struggling to get away from the crucifixion. You're at that point that you relax into, and there's a sense that all of this is still present. There's still some crucifixion going on, maybe, still some, the resurrection's going on. There's no clear line. This all, in some sense, can be happening at the same time as you move, or we move, from what we would call spiritual dying into this being stabilized in what we could call the resurrection life or new life or rebirth. It's like a child in gestation. You could say the child is not being conceived there, but it's a process, and the child may be partly the fetus and partly the born child during that whole process. So there's no point necessarily that we can look and delineate and say this is where this begins and this stops. In fact, in some sense, we go through this continually. Someone said to me recently, how many times do I need to surrender? Well, how many times do you need to? Well, it's a daily process. In some sense, I'm dying daily, and I'm in the tomb. I'm patiently waiting daily, and I'm experiencing resurrection life daily. It's all beyond duality, or we could say in its more subtle level in duality. It's all happening at the same time. So you could be going through a major spiritual death in your life or a major resurrection period in your life, and there will still be potentially and likely will be elements of the whole experience going on. The main thing is not where we are, but that we're letting it happen and that we're not trying to figure this out. Sometimes you may have no idea where you're at. You don't know whether you're still on the cross, whether you're in the tomb, or you're in the resurrection. That's not important. It can help to have some sense of it, yes. But if you don't understand what's going on, you relax with the fact that you do not understand, and that itself is part of what helps presence to come out. Presence, when it's coming out, resurrection life, when it's coming out, inevitably is going to create confusion, some measure of confusion, and other emotions to the body mind that may well also feel threatened. There will be some sense of the threat of the resurrection to come and see, because once your ego doesn't, it's been adapted to the to not have this. It's like C.S. Lewis said you've got bios and eros. We could say bios is the biological life. That's the life we have to die to, being guided by instinct, pleasure, body, mind, at that level. That's the bios life. And that is the life of survival, the life where wars erupt and manipulation of relationships and arguments and all this is going on in our world, all this chaos because persons are at this level of the bios, the body, and they're responding out of this uh, egocentricity, the domination, the mind and the senses of the body, for instance, the emotions. So that is being died to. It's losing its center, and what is coming is presence. And then presence can fully involve the ego, yes, and will, and thinking and feeling, but it will be as these are surrendered to or subordinate to, we could say, the energy of presence, the mind of presence. And this is partly why in Buddhism you get the teaching of the lower and higher mind. See, but we could just say the lower mind itself is of the one mind, but being put into surrender to or a subordinate position to the center, which is presence, that has its own intelligence. So this is relating to us. I think the message for me would be to say, for me, what Holy Saturday reminds me of is that probably much of my life, and much of my life has been spent in the tomb time. I've had my crucifixion times, I've had my resurrection times, but it seems most of my life in the past and in the present is in that time of surrendering to that. I don't know where I'm going. I'm not sure know what happened. So I'm not sure I know where I'm going or what happened, but I'm here. I'm in this moment. But I don't know, at some point you simply, you as presence is coming forth, even these ideas of where am I is not that important anymore. It's that life is a gift, and resurrection life is just life, and it was as real at the cross as in the tomb. It's always there, and the main thing is to remain open to it. Don't rely on what you think or what you feel, because this life, this reality that you are and you express, is as real in the felt absence of it as the felt present. So then you're not clinging. I don't need the resurrection as a felt experience. See, but I do need the feeling with a capital L, the sense that comes when I totally accept what this moment, the glory of this moment, the beauty of this moment, and the love that is here. Thank you, and I hope this has encouraged you. Bless you.